Review these this weekend. Use pen to correct your paperwork, the work that you did, the problems for these. I'm going to go very quickly, so please feel free to pause and rewind and listen to problems more than once, or if you need to write out the problem, just feel free to pause, and you can fast forward me through the ones that you do know and understand and think you'll do just fine. Okay, number 1, which situations can be represented by the expression below? Negative 400 times 2. It's written all the way over here, but we wrote it over here. Maggie hiked downhill 400 feet. Well, downhill does seem like negative. In 2 hours. Well, that's dividing by 2, so that's no good. Maggie hiked uphill. That's like positive 400. That's no good. Maggie hiked downhill approximately 400 feet. That's negative. Every 2 hours. Code word every means multiply. Every 2 hours, so multiplying by 2. That's exactly what we need. That looks good, but don't forget to read the last question, last choice, because clicks are precious. You want to use them well. Maggie hiked 400 feet uphill and then 400 feet downhill. No, that's going to get you back to where you started. Forget that one. Okay, double check the question. Which situation, not plural, so one, they're looking for one answer, can be represented by the expression below, negative 400 times 2, downhill, every 2 hours. Yep, that looks good. Choice C. Click it. Question 2. The number line shows 4 scores for Andy, so he's got a negative score at the beginning of round 1. The question's down below. Enter the difference in points between the score after round 1 and after round 4. So he has these different scores for the different rounds for a science competition. Round 1 is down here at negative 320, so you can mark that up. And round 4 is up here at positive 495. So the total distance between them, whenever you go over the 0, you're going to use the number's absolute value to find the total distance. The distance between here and here isn't just like 175, the distance between these, the difference if you subtracted them. It's from negative 320 up to 0. This is 320. And then from 0 way up to positive 495, that's another 495. So you add them together. You could think about the absolute value of 495, which is 495, and the absolute value of negative 320, which is positive 320, and add them up. 815 is your final answer. Question 3. The numbers a, b, and c are not 0, and a divided by b equals c. Micah claims that negative a divided by negative b equals c must also be true. Which of these statements supports Micah's claim? Choose 3 correct answers. 3. We got to pick 3. Okay, first one, this one down here, choice D, it looks like what we're going for, a negative, a positive. So that one looks good. So that's pretty much a good one to go with. This one, you can divide numbers in any order. That's not true. If you just tried, 2 divided by 4 is 1/2, whereas 4 divided by 2 equals 2. That's a lie. And we never lie in math, so we know that that one's not it. Forget that one. So we've got E, A, B, and C to choose 2 more from. Well, since we've got the negative here, negative 1 times A equals negative A, there's a negative A in this. Same thing, there's a negative B in this. B and C look good. A and B look good. C is negative 1 times C equals negative C, but this is a positive C. So we're going to go with these 3. These 3, no. Choose 3 correct answers, A, B, and D. We chose 3, moving on. Question 4, what is 17 divided by 40 written as a decimal? Okay, top number goes under, so you divide. Add a decimal and a 0. 40 goes into 1. No. 17. No. 170. Yes. So your first digit's going to be there. 4 times is going to be 160. 10 left over. Bring down the 0. 4 into 100 is 2. 80. Bring down the 0. 4 into 200 is 5. And it's a terminating decimal. So 0.425 is the right answer because they asked for the answer as a decimal. If they'd asked for it as a percent, remember, you're going to do go to and then put the percent sign. Go to percent. It would be 42.5%. Just as an aside, that's not the question, but we're just stretching our brains. Question number 5. Aaron needs to buy 834 pounds of potting soil to fill a large flower pot. 834 pounds of potting soil. That is a very large flower pot. Okay. Potting soil costs 60 cents per pound. Okay, per means to multiply. Including tax. Okay, good. We don't have to worry about tax. What is the total cost in dollars of potting soil that Aaron should buy to fill the flower pot? Well, I think it's just 834 times 60 cents per pound. You could do that as 0.6 and get 500.4, but then we need to change that to be money. So if we add a dollar sign in front, you can't just have 0.4, you need to have a 0. Some people just take the 60 here, multiply by the 60, bring the decimals, the 0 straight down. That works out beautifully. Final answer, $500, 40 cents. Question 6. Look at the number line below. Choose the two expressions that correctly show the distance between the 2 points. Well, the distance between -2 and +6. From -2 to 0 is going to be 2, and from 0 to 6 is going to be another 6. Just double checking. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're just counting the loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're looking for the answer 8. Great time to use circle, label, choose, use. No sign is positive. Subtracting a negative is a positive term. They're both positive. Same add keep. 6 plus 2 is 8. Positive 8. You can sign trail over the positive. Positive 8. That one looks good. Next one. No sign is positive. Adding a negative, that's a negative term. So these two signs are different. So this is different, subtract bigger. 6 minus 2 is 4. The team that has the most players is the positive, so sign trail over the 4 positive. We wanted it to be positive 8, so we think that one's a no. But let's keep going. We need 2. Remember our goal. No sign is positive. Oh, wait, we have absolute value. So let's break down. Absolute value of -2 is the number of jumps. -2 is from 0. 1, 2. So that equals positive 2. And then the 6 was already positive, so this is just really like basic math back from first grade. 6 plus 2 is 8. We wanted it to be 8, that looks good, but let's check this last one. Ooh, the absolute value, sorry it's a little hard for you to see because I wrote on top of this, of -2 plus 6, the absolute value of -2 plus 6. Well, that does not equal the absolute value of -2 plus the absolute value of 6. They are not equal to that. You have to finish everything inside the absolute value bars first. Think of them kind of like parentheses. So -2 is a negative term, plus 6 is a positive term. These are different signs, so you're going to use different, subtract bigger. 6 minus 2 is 4. Bigger team is 4. So it's going to be positive 4 on the inside of the absolute value. Now when you take positive 4 out of the absolute value, it still stays positive 4. So this answer is positive 4. We were going for positive 8, so forget that. We think that B and D are out, A and C are in. Click them. Clicks are precious. Move along. Question C did not transfer well, so we'll just tell you what that is in class. That one wasn't hard. Question 7. So question 8. Leo, Angie, and Scott are making frosting to decorate cookies. A recipe for 1 serving of frosting calls for 1 3/4 cups sugar and 2 tablespoons of vanilla. They each brought the ingredients they had at home, just whatever they had. Leo brought 2 cups of sugar and 2/3 tablespoon vanilla. Sorry, it might be a little hard for you to see. Maybe that's a little better. Angie brought 1 2/3 cups sugar and 1 1/2 tablespoons vanilla. Scott brought 1 4/5 cups sugar and 2 1/4 tablespoons vanilla. Well, I went ahead and solved these. I'll show you what I did. I added all the sugar together first. I made a common denominator of 15. 1 2/3 is really equal to 1 10/15 when you multiply by factors of 5. 1 4/5 multiplied by a factor of 3 is going to equal 1 12/15. Add that up and you get 4 22/15. That's an improper fraction, so we're going to divide it. 15 goes into 22 one time with 7 left over. So this equals 1 7/15. Add it to the 4 you already had before, and you get 5 7/15. So that's how much sugar you have. And that's in cups. Okay, next, if we go to vanilla, vanilla's up here in the blue. We have 2/3, 1 1/2, and 2 1/4. So the least common denominator between 3, 2, and 4 is 12. So this is going to be times 4, so 2/3 equals 8/12. 1/2 is going to be times 6, so 1/2 equals 6/12. Don't forget the 1. And 1/4 equals 3/12. Don't forget the 2. Add these up, you get 3 and 17/12. Again, 17/12 is improper. So you divide it, that equals 1 and 5/12. Add it to the 3 you had before, and you get 4 and 5/12. Now, looking at it, you could group things however you want. You could divide however you want. I just thought it would be cool to see how many 1 and 3/4 we can add together before we get to 5 and 7/15. But I saw later, it's not the sugar that we're going to run out of first, it's the vanilla. We only have 4 and 5/12 teaspoons of vanilla, so I should have just focused on the vanilla. I got to have 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and that's an easier number, 2, than 1 and 3/4. So how many complete servings of frosting can I make? Well, if I have 4 and some left over, and I'm dividing 4 by 2, the answer is 2 frosting servings. I can only make 2 frosting servings when I'm asked what is the maximum number of whole servings of frosting they can make with the ingredients they brought. So 2 servings. Next, number 9. Number 9, which fractions have the same value as -1/4? Okay, well, if we took each of these things and just thought about it as terms, you guys are really good at circle, label, choose, use. This, inside the negative, we have 1 negative term, so that's a negative term. This, inside we have 2 negatives, so that's a positive term. This, inside we have 1 negative, that's a negative term. This, we have 2 negatives, that's a positive term. This, we have 3 negatives. Well, if 2 negatives together could turn into like positive, these two could be combined together, you'd still have 1 more left over negative. This is a negative term. Odd number of negative terms inside the circle also means negative term. Drag and drop each fraction into the correct column that classifies it as either equal to or not equal to -1/4. Okay, -1/4 has got to be negative. This one is, yep, that's equal. So you'd put it in the column that says equal to. I'll just make them yellow. This one is not equal. So that's going to have to be the not equal to. No. This one is equal. This would go into the yellow column that says equal to. This one is not equal. No. And this one is equal. So you have 3 in the equal to, -1/4, and 2 in the not equal to. Question number 10. Enter the value of 2/5 times the quantity of 22 plus the quantity of -4 and 5/8 minus the quantity of -7. Again, fabulous chance for you to use circle, label, choose, use. Now, brackets mean the same exact thing as parentheses. So these mean to multiply. So in the end, we're going to multiply everything times 2/5. But first, let's use circle, label, choose, use. This is a positive term. This is a negative term. And subtracting a negative is a positive term. So these two I'm going to combine using same, add, keep, and I'm going to get 29 positive. Now I'm going to have to subtract 4 and 5/8. That's not easy to do vertically unless you think about it and break it down in different ways. You could say 29 minus 4, 28, 27, 26, 25. So that's going to be 25. And then if you said 25 minus 5/8, well, 25 can be equal to 24, and if you traded in that 1, you get 8/8. So now you're going to subtract 5/8 from that, and you get 24 and 3/8. And there's more than one way to do it, but that's one way, and that will be your final answer, 24 and 3/8. Choose the two expressions that equal 12 minus -33. Again, you want to solve these first. Circle, that's a positive term. Taking away a bad thing is another positive term. So this is going to be same, add, keep. 12 plus 33 is 45. So the answer here is positive 45. That's our goal. We want to get to positive 45. So whichever ones of these choices add up to positive 45 will be our winners. We're going to do them all, but then we have to make sure that we have 2.